Good evening, Professor Hunt. For this week's assignment, we were placed in a real-world scenario where an emergency medical services team has brought a 54-year-old female patient to the emergency department where I'm working. The EMS personnel state that the patient was found wandering in a nearby park by a jogger who called 911 from her cell phone after the woman screamed obscenities at her and then fell, seriously scraping her arm and face. The woman is bleeding, disoriented, combative, and accused the EMS team of stealing her purse. Her hands are shaking severely, and she is shouting at the doctors and nurses that she needs a bottle. In addition, the woman's clothing is dirty, and you can smell a stale body odor and urine. Based on the scenario presented, my first thought is that this homeless woman is suffering from alcohol withdrawal and an underlying mental health disorder. According to a 2007 poll by the National Alliance to End Homelessness, around 744,000 homeless people are in the United States. About 2/3 of these were single people and 1/3 were families. 1/4 of the homeless people were estimated to be on the street for more than a year. According to the Alcohol Rehab Guide, numerous studies have reported almost 1/3 of homeless people have significant mental diseases, most commonly schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. In the homeless community, co-occurring disorders or mental health problems that coexist with alcoholism are directly linked to alcohol and drug usage. Bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, anxiety, and depression are all associated with drug and alcohol addiction in the homeless population. Short-term and long-term risks for this woman faces involve her health and safety. Homelessness has far-reaching consequences. They include everything from emotional problems to health issues. According to the homelessness website, many homeless people are thought to have failed to cope with their problems throughout their lives, causing them to isolate themselves from the rest of the world. In their daily lives, homeless individuals frequently face a variety of health challenges. Due to a lack of care from doctors and family members, their health deteriorates. As a result of these lack of essentials, they can also suffer from various diseases brought on by a cold injury, cardiorespiratory diseases, tuberculosis, skin diseases, nutritional deficiencies, sleep deprivation, and mental illness. Furthermore, they may be subjected to physical and sexual assault, increase their risk of drug and alcohol dependency, and HIV or AIDS, resulting in higher mortality. In addition, being homeless, people often suffer psychologically as a result of their loss of self-esteem, the threat of possibly becoming institutionalized, an increase in substance use, the loss of the ability or will to care for themselves, an increased danger from abuse and violence, an increased chance of entering the criminal justice system, and the development of behavioral problems. The signs and symptoms of alcohol withdrawal can be rather varied. Some persons suffering from alcohol withdrawal develop psychosis, including paranoia, pathologic jealousy, and even chronic auditory hallucinations, all of which require medical attention. According to the Priory Group website, chronic alcohol usage can potentially cause significant memory difficulties that require medical attention. Alcohol tremors are a potential sign of impending delirium tremens. Delirium tremens are a severe form of alcohol withdrawal that can result in convulsions and sometimes be deadly. After a period of heavy drinking, it is frequently induced by significantly reducing or discontinuing alcohol use entirely. Insomnia, tremors, and even seizures are the first signs of this severe illness. Your consciousness may be clouded, you may get disoriented and confused, and you may be experiencing vivid hallucinations and uncontrollable alcohol tremors. It can happen suddenly, and a person suffering from delirium tremens requires prompt medical attention. Medical personnel of all specialties are routinely confronted with both the behavioral and physical problems of alcoholism, particularly in emergency departments. An ED visit for an acute change in health, whether due to substance use-related injury, pneumonia, soft tissue infection, or overdose, allows physicians to actively engage patients in discussion and reflection, allowing them to make the connection between substance use and their acute medical condition and potentially motivating them to change their behavior. Obviously, this woman is not in her right frame of mind. So once she has been calmed down, a complete inventory of the kind, amount, frequency, and effects of her substance use, as well as an assessment of co-occurring psychiatric problems, a medical history, physical examination, and laboratory testing can be conducted according to the Relias Media website. Blood and urine tests that include alcohol and drug screens and basic lab values will establish the patient's immediate health status. Neurological exams and psychiatric consults will help determine any underlying mental health concerns. The patient will need to be referred to a social worker with resources to help the patient stabilize herself upon discharge. Possibly with the help of the women's shelter, the patient can obtain drug and alcohol counseling, stay compliant with any psychiatric medication regimens and outpatient visits, as well as be safe, clean, and fed until she can get back on her feet again. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, mental diseases are prevalent in the United States. Nearly 1 in every 5 adults has a mental condition. Mental diseases encompass a wide range of conditions with varying degrees of severity, ranging from mild to severe. Treatment for mental illnesses does include both pharmaceutical and non-pharmacological approaches. Even though there is still a long way to go, treatment for mental illness is becoming more prominent and less stigmatized these days. As a result, patients can seek more accessible treatment, and those with insurance have better coverage to assist with inpatient care, outpatient care, and prescriptions. Is what patients have available from insurance sufficient? From my perspective and experience, I would say no. However, according to the mentalhealth.gov website, marketplace private insurances, Medicare, and Medicaid programs must provide mental health and substance abuse coverage that meets the MHPA-EA requirements. In my opinion, there are not enough inpatient facilities to service the demand of patients who need it. Unfortunately, too many trips to the emergency room to avoid crisis do not get followed up upon properly with psychiatric care. To treat a mental illness, the patient requires immense support, attention, and more often than not, medication as part of an effective treatment plan, according to an article published by the National Institute of Health. For patients suffering from, say, depression, pharmacological therapies such as antidepressants are used. However, mental illness also necessitates other types of therapy such as outpatient psychotherapy and counseling. Severe mental illness may require extensive inpatient care with medical stabilization and intense counseling. Insurance may not cover all the cost of this care, if any. I am still paying off bills from a 3-week inpatient stay my son had at a 20% copay from 3 years ago. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy my video.